Hey everyone, welcome back to another video by the Nerd Forum, and in this video we are going to be texturing an old school gas station. If you're new to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. So as you can see on the screen, we have the gas pump model textured. In this video I'll only be covering the realistic look of the model. The stylized version will only be covered in another video. I'll speak more on that at the end of this video. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to start in Blender. I have my model prepared for UV unwrapping. I'm going to assume that you know how to prepare a model for unwrapping with seams. So by pressing U, you will open the unwrapping settings and we're going to press unwrap. So it gave me the notification that unwrap was unable to solve, meaning there are certain parts of the model without UV seams. I have this Blender add-on called Text Tools that helps me with the UV unwrapping process. Right now I'm going to use it to get an automatic checkered map to see how my UVs look. So the add-on has features that help me maximize the amount of space used on your UV layout. So right now I'm using the rectify tool to straighten up any UV islands that have a bit of a curve, because curved UV islands tend to consume more space on the layout. So it's recommended to straighten your UV islands up to make them more straight. I then check for overlapping UVs that need to be fixed. It then showed me the part of the model that wasn't unwrapped properly. So I need to add some seams on that part of the model so it unwraps correctly. I'm going to unwrap this separately now. I'm not going to unwrap the entire model all over again. Since everything is set, I can press unwrap. So now we have this unwrapped section of the model that stretches across the entire UV layout. To fix that, I use another add-on called UV Packer that packs my UVs in a way that maximizes the amount of space used. So even the tiniest of spaces will have UVs. So now we open 3D Coat and import our model. I exported as an FBX, so I'll recommend that you do that as well. I'm going to keep my normal map software as Unreal Engine, keep my UVs, and give it a texture set name of gas pump. I'm going to use a texture resolution of 4K for this model. So firstly, I usually add my normals that I want to be included in the model's curvature and AO texture. Since I don't have an external software where I do this, I usually prefer to do this in 3D Coat. I'm going to be using the rectangular lasso and give it an edge radius of 6.5 for the whole curved effect. I'm going to use a smooth brush so that there's sort of a beveling when it is applied. So I'm now going to add a couple of dots that will resemble screws. I'll give them normals that seem to be going into the model, which will be in the negative direction. So that's like from 0 to negative 100. To show your model's wireframe, you can press the number 4. I currently only have the normals channel turned on. I'm not using any specific type of measurements for the screws. I'm just kind of, measuring with my eyes. couple more dots in the front to finish, the whole look. So now that I'm done painting normals, I'm going to turn on my channels back on, my diffuse and my glossiness. And now I'm going to bake the local curvature RGB. And after that, the ambient occlusion. Okay, once that is done, I'm going to be adding my first base material coat, which is going to be a metal for all the parts of the model that are considered to be metallic. So I'm going to be using the small material, metal light. The material control panel is used for real-time adjustments to the way materials unwrap around your model. So you can edit the size, the location, the rotation. I'll be turning my normals channel on and off as I paint, just so I get, my desired look. So I'm making a new layer to apply my paint materials that will go over the metal. Prior to that, I had made 2 other layers that I was going to use for decolorization of the metal. It wasn't that visible, but yeah, I'm still working on trying to improve that. So I'm not going to show that whole process. The first paint I'm going to give the model is a sort of blue coat. After that, a red coat for the bulk of the model. I think it's good to make a color palette before you start texturing any model because it helps as a form of format that you can stick to while you're painting. So my reasons for making a metal undercoat for the parts that will have a sort of paint over them is that sometimes the texture of the metal underneath can some sort of be seen from the paint on top. I wasn't too sure how I was going to paint the very top, so I just gave it a bit of a red at this point. So above the material control panel, there's options on changing roughness, metalness, opacity. This is also real time. It's a method on changing those settings to however you like. Pressing the number 1 will show you a model's diffuse color, like separately. I'm going to rename that layer to paint. Now I needed a layer for the plastic part. So it's going to have a simple material with not too much roughness and not too little. I'm going to add it to all the parts I consider to be plastic, also the part I consider to be some sort of shiny rubber. So I'm just going to use the same material for rubber as well. After that, I need to add logos and graphics. I do this in a separate program, which is GIMP. It's free, so yeah, you can probably get it. And not that you can't make the graphics in 3D code, it's just, it's better for precision on the type of logo or something that you're making. So back in 3D code, I'm going to use the picture tool. Turning off color by right-clicking on the square where you get your color in the scene. So it uses the picture's original color and not the scene's color. I also turned off the materials, the little X at the beginning of each material panel. I turn back on the screen's color by right-clicking on the color again, and this time I'm going to be adding some text using the text tool. After that, it's back in GIMP to make a few extra graphical elements. You can use Photoshop or whatever image manipulation software. I just prefer GIMP. It's easier. Oh, I've been using it for quite some time, so I'm pretty much used to it. Okay, so using the picture tool again, we'll follow the same process and apply the image to the surface by turning off the color, the material, and so on. We'll then go on to unhide all the other objects in the scene. I had previously hid them so I could focus primarily on that part. Okay. I'm now going to paint the other parts of the model that have graphical elements. We're going to be adding a curved gasoline text. You can do this by adding 3 points to the text that you are making, with the center point being the curve point. So pretty much clicking the first point, the second point, and the third point. Then the midpoint will be your curving point. So now we'll be adding the gas station graphics for the prices per liter of gas. This is one of the reasons why I was saying you don't really need a separate image manipulation app, because you can simply make the graphics in 3D code. It's just certain precisions need a second software. I'm pretty much using the same tools for these methods, so you can just pretty much watch the process. I'm going to be using the transform tool. It's my method of copying and pasting graphics to a different spot. So you can just use a rectangular select the part you want to be copied, and move the rectangle to a location you want or you desire and press enter. If you have a different method, please share. I'm not sure if this is the right way. It just works for me. Okay, so now we'll be adding the plastic material for this top display. I'm going to change it again later in the video once I figure out how to color it, but yeah. Using a procedural noise texture, I'm going to add a decolorization of orange on the base of the red on the gas pump and a dark bluish gray to the blue in front. After that, I'm adding a layer called dirt, where the first material I'll be applying are leaks under the leaks panel. Then I'm going to make another dirt layer where I'll be adding general dirt, which will be visible from the corners or the tight crevices. The type of dirt material I'm using is one of the default dirt materials with some slight tweaks. Now, of course, adjusting the opacity in real time helps with how much dirt you need to see. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to do the same on all major parts of the model. Now, of course, playing with the degree on the Smart Materials editor, specifically one with the conditional painting method, can affect its intensities. This one is set to more on shadow, so it's gonna affect the degree on the places with dirt on the shadows or in the shadows. So now we're gonna add it to the remaining parts of the model that need dirt. Now I'll be adding some scratches and some edge wear to certain parts of the model. For the rim at the top, I'll be using the rectangular lasso, turning off ignore back faces so the faces behind can also be affected. And then for the other rim, I'll be manually painting it in with the brush. So now I need to add stickers associated with gas pumps. I got these over the internet, so don't think they're so fancy. This is just gonna add, a bit more, realism to the asset. After that, I'll use the eraser tool, and erase with the grunge and the scratch type of brushes. I can't lie, this is one of my favorite parts, honestly. It's kind of fun. So now after I finally had an idea on what to do with the top, I made the whole thing red and the center blue. With the model done, you can either use 3D Coat's built-in renderer or might have to install RenderMan, which is also associated with 3D Coat. But I don't usually do that, I just use Blender. So in Blender, I add a new material and use the default principled shader. I go into the nodes editor and add 4 image texture nodes. The first being for the base color, the second for the metalness, which will use a linear color space. And the third for the roughness, also using the linear color space. The fourth will be for the normals. Make this non-color and add a normal map node in between. So since I just updated my Blender after like 2 years, I wasn't too familiar with their interface change, so keep in mind I possibly used the wrong linear color space. After all that, you can change your viewport to rendered view and you'll see your textures working. Okay, so for the stylized look, I have a video tutorial that I uploaded onto my Gumroad. In the video, I'll be using GIMP as well for the process. So if you're using Photoshop or any other image editing software and feel you might not be able to do certain things that I'll be doing in the video, you can download GIMP, which is free. Thank you guys for watching this video, and yeah, see you soon.